Hi. So in the last video, I went through the 5 types of movements of the mind. In the sutras so far, we've gone up to sutra number 11, and we've discussed what yoga is. It's the stilling of the movement of the mind, why you would do it, and then what those movements of the mind are. So having defined what the movements of the mind are, the next step is to go back to the notion of what yoga is, the stilling of these movements, and to talk about how do you do this? How do you still them? And the answer is practice and non-attachment. Abhyasa vairagyam tannirodha. Tannirodha, this is done, this stilling is done by abhyasa and vairagyabhyam. Those are the two that are used. That's what you use, that's what you do. And they're done in conjunction with each other. That's why this image is a baseball glove, because they require both, like a game of catch. And the ball has a little Tai Chi symbol, the yin-yang symbol on it too. They exist within each other, like the Tai Chi symbol, the dark has the dot of light within it, and the light has the dot of dark within it. And, like a game of catch, a little attitude of play is important, but you have to play with it. You have to, it's like effort and surrender. Practice is, working at it and letting go. And they require each other. You can't play catch really without both aspects, something to catch the ball with and a ball. Yeah, that's it. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam is a composite word. Tannirodha. We do this, still them, with the abhyasa, the combination of abhyasa, practice, and vairagyabhyam. So the next obvious step is to define practice and non-attachment. And the first one is practice. Tatra stitau yatno vyasa. Here we go. Tatra stitau yatno vyasa. And that, again, with the painting itself, you can see that that blue is really, really intense. Really, it's very, very deep blue around it. It has a lot of layers and a lot of depth to it. And then the blue dot in the middle kind of glows like the blue pearl of meditation. So of the two, effort, tatra stitau yatno vyasa, of the two, effort towards stilling the mind is practice. So that's why there's the blue pearl of meditation in it. And that's what you can sort of see, the sense of, there's a bit of a hand there on the one side. It's to signify the effort that you put towards stilling the mind, which is traditionally meditation. And then the next one, practice, is further defined. Satu dirga kala nairantarya satkara sevito dridda bhumi. So practice is considered, this tells you more about practice. Practice is considered firmly grounded, bhumi, when it is continued for a long period of time without interruption and with complete faith, with right attitude. So that is practice. And this image I got from there was an image that occurred to me, and it took me a long time to do because I was, these two, actually these paintings, the ones that we're doing right now, took me, I think they took me altogether a year, the ones on practice and non-attachment. They might have taken me 2 years. I'm not sure. They took a long time. Some of it is because there were many layers. Some of it is because we were going through a lot at that period of time. As I saw the ones on non-attachment coming, I thought, non-attachment, I'm not good at that. I already know that. I like my stuff. Not my thing, so I sort of cavalierly thought, well, something else is definitely going to have to tell me what to do with those. And then we went through like a really horrendous period of time in which we lost our house, and I was diagnosed with cancer, and let's just say there was a lot of loss that, I was definitely forced to continue to practice through a difficult period of time, and I was forced to let go of a lot that I did not want to let go of. So this one took time because I did a really, really great drawing early on, and then I was afraid I was going to mess it up. I knew it needed more, but I was afraid to do it. The glove and ball is actually my Sanskrit teacher, Shanta's, and he was what's it called? He was scouted by the Yankees. Anyhow, he was a passionate baseball player. And could have been a professional baseball player. So it was his glove and ball that I borrowed, and I didn't finish the painting until his son was coming into town and wanted to play catch with him. And he got in touch with me and said, I'm going to need that glove back. Otherwise, I just had it in the same place in my studio for the longest time while I waited to have the guts to finish it. This one took a long time because it was many, many layers, and it took a long time to really get that blue dot to glow the way I wanted it to. And this one took a long time because, because I was scared of painting water, and once again, I wanted it to look like water, but not look like too overly realistic, and to look painterly enough to fit in, with the rest of it. Getting it to look actually like water. Oh, and I was saying that the thing that the inspiration for this was also from Dune. The Fremen, they have this underground reservoir of water that's been added to drop by drop, from the water from all the dead bodies and everything over the hundreds of years or whatever, or tens of years. But that's practice. That is indeed practice, something that's been done for a long period of time, bit by bit, with complete faith, and without interruption. And then you get that big underground reservoir of water. All right, and then the next one, so that's practice. And then we get to Vairagya. This is another one that took a long time. This would be the ending, really, of the ones that took the most time. So practice, that non-attachment. So how do we describe then what non-attachment is? And Drishta Nishravika Vishaya Vitrishna Vashikara Sanya Vairagyam. Vairagyam is Vairagya, non-attachment. So non-attachment is when one has completely, with perfect control, lost the longing or the thirst for the fulfillment of any and all worldly or spiritual experiences, objects, whether seen or heard of. That includes anything that you can see or hear, or hear of, or anything that exists, or anything that you can be told about. When you have lost the longing, the desire to have that is non-attachment. Once again, any choppiness is because there was an interruption. So we were talking about the first sutra, there's two of them, on non-attachment. Drishta Nishravika Vishaya Vitrishnasya Vashikarasanya Vairagyam. So drishta is seen or perceived, and anushravika is has to do with something that's heard of or promised in a tradition. Vishaya is objects, and vitrishnasya is one who's lost the thirst for it or the longing for it. So vashikara, it has to do with mastery or power. And then sanya means with, full knowledge or consciousness, and vairagyam is, detachment or non-attachment. So so it means, you no longer, not only do you no longer want to have, that house or that car, or, to be on the cover of whatever magazine, or, famous, or to be a movie star, or marry a movie star, or, But you don't want to be more spiritual or enlightened or, one with God, or, there's nothing. You desire nothing. You don't want to have special experiences. There's nothing. You're completely content with what you are and who you are. So in this painting, there's the drishta, all the things seen, the colors of the spectrum, and then there's sort of wave-like patterns, like for sound, for anything heard of, and then this is actually cut away. And it's backed by a piece of clear acetate. So vairagya also means clear. So you could think of it as, non-attachment also does mean clear, colorless, without color. So nothing colors you. You're empty. That's non-attachment. And so this is another one that took me a long time. This was the one where really I had an idea about what this was going to be. And this time I was determined to do it. I was going to layer all these different colors on top of there with white in between and sand it down and get a really deep, rich color. And I was determined to do it. I didn't care. So as I was doing it, I heard that little voice in my head going, this doesn't really this doesn't really seem like non-attachment. This kind of seems like piling on, because actually that, piling on, it was doing layer after layer after layer. And I got it done, and it really didn't look right. And I thought, really, I should just cut it out. But of course I was afraid to. I was going to be cutting apart a painting. And I didn't know if it would work. I did a little one to see, and okay, it would work. And then in the end, actually I think I had my Sanskrit teacher Shanta over and was talking about it, and he was like, well, so what's the worst that could happen? In any of the ones where I was worrying about it, at some point I reached a point where I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work and I have to start over again. All right, well, so I did it. And obviously that's perfect, but the piece that was piled on, there it is. Where is it? Right there at the bottom. I didn't totally get rid of it, but there we go. Non-attachment, something to definitely strive for. But that's just the first level of non-attachment, where you don't hunger or thirst for anything that you can see or think of or hear about or any of that. You don't want to be calmer, you don't want to be more peaceful, you don't want to be more loving, you don't want to be taller or thinner or richer. But you still think of yourself as a person, and maybe even a person who's not attached. The next level, you don't even think of, you're completely unattached, even to the notion of yourself as an attached being, a non-attached being. And that's described, here it is right here. And there it is. And it's Tat Param Purusha Kyater Guna Vaitrishnam. The highest form of non-attachment is when, through knowing the unbounded self, one ceases to desire any manifestation of nature. They describe that as the three gunas, or any identification with personality. That's also part of the three gunas. So when you stop even caring about being even any kind of, even the person that you are, when that doesn't even matter to you, that's the highest form of non-attachment. Comes through contact with the unbounded self, where you realize that that's what you really are. So this is the beginning of the kind of cosmic awareness, which is why there's a cosmic aspect to this picture, that cosmic energy coming in. And this is where it started to get easy again, where I started to let go of my ideas and go with what came up. All right, these series of sutras continue, having discussed vairagya and abhyasa, that now goes a little deeper into how we work with those, how the process of working with abhyasa practice and vairagya, non-attachment, what it looks like, what the steps are, how you do it. And we'll talk about that in the next video.